Listen to Mark Sephton. I'm here till 7 o'clock. Got Karen Delahunty in the studio. Has it stopped raining outside?
It has, yeah.
That's good. I had a look
chilly.
out the window earlier and it was absolutely throwing it down.
Yeah, just a bit chilly now. But it's
Just a bit chilly?
Yeah.
How was your Christmas and New Year?
Yeah, good. Had a good time. It was nice to have all the family at home for the holiday. That was good fun. Everybody's back at work now, obviously, but yeah, it was good. Nice
Good
time.
stuff, yeah. I love Christmas. It's a great time just to recharge, have time with your family, isn't it? And
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
did you do much reflecting on 2011?
A little. Had a look at where things went well for me and where they didn't, as everybody does. So yeah, there was a few highs that we had there, which were quite good. And I got involved in an enterprise scheme with Broad Horizons, and that was really good fun. We did a fashion show in November.
Fantastic.
So that was really good fun. And we actually ended up having a lot of people there. Lady Godiva actually turned up and she opened the venue for us.
I wonder where she'd gone off the horse.
Yeah, so that was fun. And there was a lot of people there. It was an enterprise event. I don't know if anybody knows about the Broad Horizons event, but Broad Horizons actually supports people who are beginning, starting in businesses, and it was a way to promote the Broad Horizons Conference Centre, as well as get the community involved. And it was the Enterprise Week that they do every year to celebrate the fact that people are starting businesses and, to encourage people. And they were working a way of finding out how to promote that in a bit bigger scale than we did last year. So we came up with the idea of having a family fun day, and that was really fun. We got lots of people involved in that, and we had Chinese dancers and a fashion show, and lots of food and stalls and craft stalls.
Yeah, I did mention that actually, that event on the show a few months ago.
Yeah, it was hard work. We had a focus team, and we had to pull everybody together, and it was just getting the whole community involved in that. And part of that, my part of it was on the fashion show side of it, where I got people from Coventry University and the technical college to come along, and they did their little bit of on the catwalk. And it was just organising all of that. It was quite good fun, actually, meeting new people. Yeah, that was interesting. And it opens new doors for you,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was good. And we had part of that as well was my specific part, apart from helping to organise that, was that I created a Cadbury's corset. And that all came from a networking event through Broad Horizons last year, when one of the Cadbury speakers came to talk to us. And through that, she found out what I did, and she's seen some drawings that we had. And she sent a whole a huge big roll of Cadbury's wrappers.
Oh, wow.
The dairy milk ones, which was
Really? Well.
the purple shiny wrappers. And she said, see what you can do with that. So 3 attempts and a year later, I ended up with this sort of fully bound corset, Cadbury's corset and skirt outfit that was launched on Broad Horizons.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
So yeah.
Do you have any pictures of that, Karen?
I do, yeah.
I'd love to get them up on the website.
There are some, yeah. The good part about that was as well that a few weeks later, I had the opportunity to go to the Design Technology Show, the NEC, and there was a lady there that I'd met years ago, who moderated my work when I was training many years ago, and she was heavily involved in the fashion shows for the NEC, and so I'm having talks with her in January to hopefully put it on the catwalk at the NEC in March in the Sewing for Pleasure show.
Awesome.
So that should be good fun, yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
We're looking forward to that.
Well, good for you. Sounds good. I mean, a couple of things that I wanted to touch on. You were talking about the event that's by business. Who did you say it was?
Broad Horizons.
Broad Horizons, that's it. Broad Horizons. And I was reading an article by the Federation of Small Business, and they were saying, really, it's going to be down to individuals like yourself those that are self-employed that actually are going to improve the economy of the country through innovation and just really thinking outside of
you do have to be flexible, especially when you're a one-man band as well. You've got to think about how you can turn things around. If something doesn't work, then you've got to look and see, well, why and why doesn't it, and what are you going to do next? And always looking for new, innovative ideas to push forward. And one way was by helping the community.
Great. The news is going to cut in very shortly, so we'll chat afterwards, but the news is on its way.
Plus life, plus music, plus community on 101.5. This is Radio Plus.
Listen to Mark Sephton Talk Business. Got Karen Delahunty in the studio. Karen, I was really fascinated by your story with regards to cabarets, and they'd basically giving you the task of doing something, creating something.
Yeah, that was a really good challenge. At times I did wonder what I'd taken on, because I'm used to working with silk fabrics really for wedding dresses, and I ended up with a sort of foil wrapper that was very, very difficult to sew.
Yeah, I'll say I can imagine. I can't. I'd be lousy with a thread and needle, although I know my wife's very keen. She does a lot of sewing and crocheting and makes things and this.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's good, because I think it's a skill that is important. It does seem to be making a bit of a comeback. I have seen some more classes with regards to sewing, so I definitely think it's a needed skill.
Yeah, I think it is. I've seen the classes pick up in the last couple of years, definitely, and so much so that I've actually travelled quite a bit now around Coventry and Warwickshire teaching people how to sew, as well as doing bespoke wedding dresses for people. When I first started out in the business, I sort of kept both strands ongoing.
Yeah.
Because you don't know when you first start out in a business as to which would go the best, but both seem to be running quite well at the moment. But the classes are picking up very well.
Fantastic.
And I say I go down as far as Cheltenham now to West End Sewing Centre as well, and regular clubs are there that we do, and I've built up quite a good clientele from there.
Awesome.
And people do enjoy it. It's a social thing as well.
Cool.
But people do enjoy just learning new skills and getting creative, and it's amazing what they find out what they can do once they start. They don't think they've got much of a skill, or they can't, create anything. And when they actually come out with something wonderful, even if it's only just like a little cushion or skirt or something, they're really happy with it. It's just great to see that their faces light up, and I've passed that knowledge on to other people.
Yeah.
Well,
2012 is a new year. It's a new start. So. Have you got any goals and things you want to achieve yourself?
Yeah, this year I've got a few things in place actually. Hopefully, to move the business forward slightly. A lot of it is, showcasing things like I said with the Cadbury's corset. That's going to be in November. But I've recently joined the Embroiderers Guild from Leamington.
Okay.
And from that, they're doing an exhibition in February at 150, I think it is, down bottom of the parade there.
Okay.
And I'm going to have an exhibition with them in there. And as I say, then there's Warwickshire Arts Week. That's a biannual event. And I'm hoping to get involved with that, with the lady that I met through networking, called Kay Elliott.
Okay.
She's an artist, fantastic artist. She paints wonderful flowers, so lifelike. But I met her, say, at a networking event, and she'd got some of her cards and things she'd made, and her designs, but also her designs were put onto fabric. We got involved in talking to her how she managed that. But she sourced a company that would give her the colours that she wanted, because most companies, when they put print onto fabric, they only use 3 or 4 colours.
Right.
She wanted every shade of her designs, and this one company did it for her, and they are amazing. And from that, I've now going to use some of her fabrics to make a collection.
Awesome.
Of course, it's for that, ready for Warwickshire Arts Week. So.
And have you been self-taught, Karen, or?
Partly, yeah. I started off. Originally, it was out of necessity, really, from sewing, doing little kids' clothes, actually. And and then friends, they liked what I'd made, and they wanted me to show them how to teach them. But it come to the point where I wanted to make a communion dress for my daughter, and I didn't know how to make one properly. So I went to college to learn. And it was then ended up one college course after another. But when I went on the first college course at the City College at the Butts, they originally, I thought it was going to be learn how to make this communion dress. And when I got there, it was more learning design and art and crafts. And I thought, crikey, this isn't what I was meant to do. But actually, I really did enjoy it. And we learnt pattern cutting and all sorts of different skills from that.
Yeah.
And again, I ended up helping a couple of other students out with that. And one of the tutors said to me, you ought to teach this. And I thought, no, not me, teach. But I did my first class and I loved it. And then I followed on from that, learning various different stitching guilds and BTEC courses, and I'm still ongoing learning with that now. It's an ongoing process that you just keep your skill level there. I really enjoyed it so much and met a lot of new people on the way.
Is it something that really excites you? Is it something that's fun, something that gets your blood pumping?
Yeah, definitely. It's just, I just know that when I do a class and I do it well, you just feel so happy about it, and you're pleased with the customers come back and say how pleased they are. That's just fantastic, really, and they want to come back for more.
Yeah,
so it's just great to know that you can, you've got this skill that you can share with other people.
Absolutely. Because before you came in, I've been talking about dreams and goals, and I've been talking about just taking the time to be quiet and to really allow yourself to think about what you want to achieve, in 2012. And I was saying the importance is really to find something that gets your blood pumping, that something that evokes, some positive emotions, fun, and lots of excitement, and something that really, you want to do. And it's clear that, that's what I was asking you about, is it something that excites you? So I think it's important in life that the thing that we want to achieve is something that really does, excite us.
That's right. I think it's really nice to know that I've got to a point where the talents that I've got, I can pass on to other people and enjoy it, and also it's part of my business. It's something that I'm actually getting paid for doing.
Absolutely.
Which not many people can say they really like doing, and they're doing a job that they enjoy and get paid for it too.
No, that's totally true, Karen.
Yeah.
Totally agree with you there. But you're also talking about how you went to college, you learnt the necessary skills.
That's right, yeah, over a period of about probably 10 years. I went to start, originally I did fashion design, stitching guilds. Unbeknownst to me as well with that was another thing. We learnt how to pattern cut, which was fantastic. Make your own patterns and design from scratch, which is something I thought at first, quite I'd never be able to do, but found I had a real good niche for that and loved it. At the end of that year, there was a fashion show that all the students had to go on.
Yep.
You hadn't really got a choice. So that was a bit nerve-wracking when we first had to go down the catwalk with that. But it was good fun as well. Once you'd done it, it was like giving you that boost of confidence.
Yeah.
So it just spurs you on to do a bit more then.
Absolutely. No, that's so true. That's good. It's encouraging, because I think sometimes, we forget that we can actually learn a new skill. We can do something that we enjoy and get paid for it, which is what you've shared. And even myself, yesterday I've enrolled to go back to college once a week to develop a new skill, to get involved in something. And the opportunities are out there, but we've got to have the confidence and we've got to have the guts, haven't we? And
it is hard work.
Yeah.
It might sound easy, but when you work, and you have to work as well, and obviously run your house and everything else at the same time, it's not always easy to take an extra skill on. But if it's something you enjoy, you always find time to do that.
You do. And life's full of knockbacks as well. Sometimes we can get discouraged, we can get knocked or distracted from our goal, but it's really important to get up again. Now, I've been talking a little bit about dreams, talked about some of the things that you've been involved in, Karen. You went back into the classroom, if you like, and developed a new skill, and now you're doing something that you love and you're getting paid for it, which is the ultimate goal, I'm sure, of all of us.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice dream.
Yeah, lovely dream to do something, because then it becomes a vocation. It becomes a purpose and almost realization of why you were born was to do, you know, such a thing as what you do. How long have you been involved in the business that you do?
Well, I actually started officially out on my own in March 2010. But I'd been in the sewing business for quite a few years before that, and I've been sort of helping people out and making my own clothes and helping friends out for about 15 years, really. But it was something that grew and grew, really. It started as a hobby, and then it just built on that, and I found the more I did, the more I liked doing what I was doing. And I started off originally working with the Coventry City Council in libraries. That was my main job.
Okay.
And you know, more and more as the years went by, I got slowly more disheartened with that position because I liked doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I had the opportunity then to work with adult education at Stoke Park School, and we did a couple of evening classes there. And that was just fantastic, you know, and I knew that's what I wanted to do once I'd started that job. It was a sessional tutoring job, and it was a temporary post, and when the funding ran out for that, unfortunately, you know, it sort of drizzled off to nothing. But during that time, they asked me if I could resource some new sewing machines for them. And so I had a look around. I knew there was a good engineer in Leamington Sewing Machine Shop in Park Street, and his name's Bob Saunders, and he was fantastic. Well, anyway, I went to have a look at the machines he'd got, and just talking to him, and purely by chance, really, when we decided we were going to have the machines, he said, well, don't come and collect them on a Thursday. And I'm thinking, well, why not? You know, because he's always on about retiring. I said to him, surely you're not going to close. You're the only decent repairman around. You know, what we're going to do with the machines without not having you there? And he said, no. He said his brother that helped him out had to move on. So he had to close the shop on a Thursday, and he just briefly just said to me, you don't want a job, do you? And I sort of thought, well, actually I would, but and he said, well, he sort of more or less said it and then took it back, saying he wouldn't be able to afford to pay me that much. I think about it for a couple of weeks, you know, and of course I went away and had a thought and thought, well, perhaps I could do half and half and keep my job half, you know, part-time and do that part-time, see how it worked. And yeah, we did that, and I loved it to bits, and that's where it really sort of decided that was my turning point, really, I think. And for a few years there, it was really enjoyable. I learned a lot about the business side of things and how a family business was run, built up lots of clients and customers. He decided towards the end he was going to retire, and it was taken over by a lady called Sue Smith, and she used to work for a company called Husqvarna who makes sewing machines, and she really took the business forward then and put classes into it and really made it more than just a sewing machine repair shop. And of course I ended up getting really involved in that and loved that to bits, and managing the shop itself. So again, it was a challenge, but I learnt a lot from it. Wow. It was fantastic, and it was an uphill learning curve, but a good one at the same time. So really I've sort of suppose I learnt quite a few business skills from that point of view, and sewing machine technical skills, because part of that job was to learn all the machines inside out, because you had to learn the various different models and makes of machines, and know to what levels they were at, and know the inside out of those machines. Some of them were computerised, and then they had software digitising packages with them, where you can scan in a design or create your own drawing and then turn it into stitches. And we constantly had to go to Vanina is one of the main Swiss-made machines in London to keep updating skills and learning new machines there. And Genome's another one. They're in Stockport. So yeah, it took me quite far afield as well, but it was good fun to learn all those things, and that I've been able to then take into my own business now. And when I teach people on classes that've got various machines, it's not sort of a thing that phases me now, because I'll be able to help people out because I know how the machines work. So, and I can teach people at various levels then on their machines too. And that's sort of real skill to have.
Yeah. Do you find that you continually developing your own skill? Do you
Constantly,
do you still
and even when you've
learn?
got customers there, they give you things that you hadn't thought of, new ways of doing things. Even just maybe putting simple things like, perhaps I'm teaching somebody how to put zips in, maybe, for example, or putting a sleeve in, and there'll be a customer there or a student, and they'll say, well, I've found a different way of doing it. And sometimes we can work together, and you might find out that that's an easier way. Doesn't mean to say that my way is always the right way. And sometimes it's nicer with different fabrics as well. It's easier doing that particular way of putting a new zip, for example, invisible zip. It could be, there's 2 or 3 different ways now I've found of doing it from when I first learned how to do the original way. You still get the same result, but for different ways of fabric, you have to treat the fabric with a bit of respect, really, sometimes, and understand how it's going to actually stitch through, and whether it needs any support behind it and things like that. So there's a lot of involvement in that and interaction with the customers that I find that I'm continually learning off them as well, which is great.
What have been some of your challenges, in running your own business?
Challenges really was, because it's all right saying you've got a talent, but then when you actually come to run a business, would be, the actual business side of it. And that, again, I did have some background knowledge, obviously, with working in the Leamington shop. But it prepares you a little bit, but when you're actually out on your own doing it and you're a one-man band, then you've really got to sort of regiment yourself a little bit more and be more focused. And, understand, or it's an uphill sort of very steep learning curve of understanding how to market yourself properly and things like that. And it was useful to have been involved with women's business development, because Michelle Grindley, my mentor, she was very, very helpful on that score. And for the first few months, I had lots of free classes. I think they've been disbanded now, unfortunately, but it was very useful at the time to go on marketing courses, and to go on networking courses and learn what it's all about and what business is about, and to work out how to even do a business plan. Because that's, you think business plan, my God, that's daunting. And it was really.
Yeah.
But with the help, of people like that, it was achievable, and I was able to do that. And so that's helped me move forward. No end. I think one of the best courses that I went on was the networking group, and what networking was all about. And it just changes your perceptions of things altogether. You think networking's originally, you think it was just going to be people giving out business cards, seeing what they can get for, if they can push their business onto you. But actually it's more about people who can connect with you, and people that can help you with your business and you can help them. And that's been, quite a lifeline. You do have to, I've been to quite a few different networking groups, and you do find the ones that suit you or your particular business area the best. And I've found, the one or two are quite useful to go to. And that keeps you sane sometimes as well, when you sort of think, well, where can I go from here? What can I do? If you get sort of slightly, if you get a few business things that'll come up, and you'll think, well, actually it's not working right this minute, what am I going to do next? And you probably go to a networking group. The Wire networking group is one of the best ones. It's Women in Rural Enterprise. And they can talk to you, and you hear what they've got to say and how they've evolved their businesses, and you think, well, actually, that's a model I could probably work on. So that works really well.
Yeah, I mean, networking, we've talked about it on numerous occasions on Talk Business, and it's interesting to hear you say, about what the real meaning of networking is, because you can tend to smell a rat I find that when you go to a networking event, if there is somebody or some people there that are looking just purely about their own gain, they're in and out, there's no relationship that's built, is it? And I think really for us to do business with each other, you have to have a relationship and a level of trust with somebody, which takes time.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And also as well, you find that there's lots of other companies there that can help you move your business forward as well. I managed to get my logo created through Jigsaw Marketing and Rebecca, and they were wonderful because they were just so helpful. They'd sit down and go through all the design with you, and 2 or 3 designs, later, and they actually seem to understand what you need, and that's useful as well. And it's better than just finding somebody out the Yellow Pages and just thinking, can I just get a logo from there?
No, that's true. Karen, what do you think makes a business successful?
Continually really developing yourself. The customers are obviously the most focused and most important. And if you've got like recommendations where people come back and say, they're pleased with your work, which that's happening now, which is fantastic. That is really it's worth its weight in gold. I think to change and be flexible with change, you need to be able to do that, and listen to what the customers want, really. It's all about communication and looking for new ways and new ideas to push your business forward. Staying focused, really, just putting a lot of hard work and effort into it.
Yeah, because you touched on the fact that it's hard work, and I think sometimes some of us aren't up to the task of getting our hands dirty and really grafting, and tend to quit at the slightest sign of trouble.
Yeah, I mean, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, wouldn't they? Really?
They would.
But yeah, it is very hard, but very rewarding at the same time. And you just need to keep positive, keep focused with that, knowing that it will come through.
Good stuff. We're going to chat a bit more. Got the travel coming up, and then we'll just we'll be wrapping up our discussion about business and having a few songs and things to take us up till 7 o'clock.
Follow @Word on the Way on Twitter.
You're listening to Mark Sephton. I'm here till 7 o'clock. Got Karen Delahunty in the studio. Karen, we've been talking about business, some of the challenges, some of the successes, how you got started, your dreams, and then you went about and you started to study, and now you do something that you love and you get paid for, which is obviously something we all aspire. You talked a little bit about some of your challenges and things. What else do you think that you've been through in life, which has really helped, you to get to the point of where you're at today? And what else do you want to share with our listeners?
I think really, just life just teaches you things as you go along, really. But it's just great to be able to say that I've got to a point where having a talent and being able to use it for the benefit of myself and family and other people. It's just an achievement in itself. Now I'm out sort of being able to teach people, give them something out of, show them how to learn a new skill, really. And I teach all sorts of classes, really, from people that just want to learn how to even turn up their own jeans, or trousers, just to save a bit of money if they want to learn how to do that, to learn to use a sewing machine. Right through to the other end of the scale where people already do sort of either dressmaking or they make patchwork, they make cushion things, and I can help them improve their skills and get creative. The advantage, I say, with learning all the various different levels of machines is that I was able to learn the computerised ones as well. So some of those are digitising packages that you can add onto a machine. And in that respect, that basically means that they've got the separate embroidery units on them, and people like to be able to create a design with personalised names on, and then they can put that into something personal for their own things, like sometimes they put them on pillows or cushions, bags, all sorts of things, and it's just able to help those people move forward with that. And I say I've been able to build up quite a good client base now, so I have lots of people at Cheltenham and in the West End Sewing Centre, and so we run a monthly Banana Club Day from there, and I'm heavily involved in that and hoping to do some sort of exhibition for that in August, showing all the people's work that they've achieved. And then closer to home, I go to Quilter's Den in Warwick.
Mm-hmm.
They've got some classes on there, and they've asked me to come back this year for a Get to Know Your Sewing Machine class and creative surface decoration. I think one's in February and one's in June.
Mm.
And Decorative Cloth, that's another company. They've just opened up in Leamington on Warwick Street. And they've started classes this year, and I'm going to talk to them again about doing some more classes with them. And it's purely because people, that know me and know what I do and like what I do, want more of my work and want me to come and show them
Yes.
what I show, to teach. So I have to look for new venues. I do some classes at home on a Tuesday and Wednesday evening at the moment. And although it's small, I've converted my garage into sort of like a little workshop. I have 3 or 4 people come there regularly, and they really enjoy that. I do like a 5-week session with them. I think the advantage of being individual and being smaller groups, it's quite nice because I can tailor it individually to what they want, so they get the best out of what they want at the time. So, we do a 5-week session with them. They have a project in mind, and I tailor it to what they particularly want to do, and that works really, really well. Rather than going on, some of the courses that I've been on. People tend to, people these days don't always want to commit to doing a sort of a whole year, or maybe a 10-week, 12-week course. And even when they do that, they're very often, if they're accredited courses, which is great to do if that's what you want to take it further. But within the accredited courses, it does make you sort of have to do a lot of design work and folder work and paperwork with that, and people just sometimes want to just get on and sew and make a project, especially beginners. They just want to do something and achieve something within a short time frame. So the individual classes work really well on that respect, and one-day workshops work very, very well at the moment.
I think the thing that I like about your story is that obviously, I think his name was Bob, wasn't it? When you said you went and saw Bob about some sewing machines for a school, yeah. And he took you under his wing, and you don't hear stories so much now when like a job or an opportunity falls on your lap.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is like he had a skill and you were passionate about it, and he really helped develop you. And the thing that's rewarding about your business is that you've developed a skill through going to classes and for people like Bob taking you under their wing, and now you've established something where you're able to then pass on that skill and do it with enjoyment, and there's a great need for it. And I think there's nothing better than something that's homemade and has got your own touch.
Yeah, and I think there is more of a need for it now, especially in a recession where people want to make, do and mend. Because I do classes for recycled things as well now, so people want to come along and they just want to learn either how to repair what they've got or just embellish what they've got even. And it gives that sense of achievement, but in an easy way as well.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, Karen, appreciate you coming into the studio. It's been great just to talk business and to hear your story. No, absolutely, because everybody's got a story, haven't they? And I think it ties in quite nicely with the fact that, in terms of what I was sharing earlier about dreams and goals and how, it's important that we're focused on something that, one, we enjoy, and two, we have a desire, to achieve it. You've said that it's hard work, said that it hasn't been easy, but...
No, it hasn't, no. But again, nothing ever is in life. If you want to achieve something, you've just got to go for it.
No, that's true enough. Well, thanks for your company. It's been great to have you in the studio this evening, and here's to a happy 2012.
And can I just say, I'd just like to say a big thank you, really, for the support from my family, really, because, they've gone through the tough times with me as well. So thank you to all of them.
Yeah, because there's a sacrifice, isn't there?
My daughters, they've been wonderful.
Have they, bless them?
Yeah,
there is a sacrifice, isn't there, when you step out on your own to try and do something. It does cost something, but I'm sure it's worth
Hopefully
it.
it'll pay back eventually.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Cheers.
Right, you're welcome. Thank you.